Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another edition of New Reads. This time, we are going to discuss an Indian author. Her name is Manjiri Indurkar, and the title of this book is It's All in Your Head, M. Now, to give a little introduction of Manjiri Indurkar, she's a writer from Jabalpur, Madhya Pradesh. She is one of the founders of the bookshelf writing workshop, and she's written a book of poetry which is titled "Dental Hygiene is Very Important" in 2017. This book is a kind of memoir, and it captures certain events that are there that has happened in her life, which has sort of created the personality that she is today. In fact, it begins with certain episode where she finds that she's extremely disturbed by diarrhea. She goes to the hospital and she's hospitalized for a few days, and she yearns the presence of her Ai. So Ai in Marathi means mother. So she wants her mother to be around, and she phones her up, and she comes over. She feels that this is something, maybe something to do with what she ate, that her tummy is unwell. But it takes her a long time to ultimately realize that her problems are not just physical, but they are psychological. And later on, as the book progresses, we come to understand that she has the roots of this particular problem in a kind of depression which she undergoes. And as we know, this is a phenomena which has been often discussed so much. We have seen how so many people have come forward to talk about their depression. We have seen how mental health has become extremely important to be talked about, to be discussed, especially during the lockdown, when everybody had been confined to their homes. So slowly and steadily, Manjari, the writer, tries to piece together various events in her life, trying to understand what was really wrong with her. Just to help us understand the book a little more, at the onset, you don't find that this here is a lady who has been working as a writer. She's done some poems, she's quite successful, she's very good at her work, she's a freelancer, she writes for various publications. So on the face of it, she's a successful writer. She has found a love in a boy called Avi, who's referred to as Avi in this novel, in this memoir. And she's spending time with him. They live together, so everything seems to be going well for her. She's got a very loving mother, she's got her grandmother, she's got her grandfather, but all of a sudden she disturbs the whole atmosphere with this particular episode, and that's where she brings it up front of her physical illness, which later we come to know is actually related to her mind and the kind of trauma that she has faced as a child. And then she sort of unveils one by one the kind of issues that she has gone through, including certain physical abuse that she had to face as a young girl, maybe of around 6 or 7 years age, at the hands of two senior boys who were in the neighborhood. And that alone is not the issue. I mean, as she progresses in her life, she comes across certain issues, the way people behave with her, including her mother. Of course, most of us learn a lot of things from our mothers, but there are also traits in them which sort of shackles us to an extent. And when it comes to Aji is the grandmother. She feels all the more resentment towards the grandmother, because the grandmother had been a witness to one of the molestation episodes, but she decided to be quiet about it. She never revealed it to anybody else. Uh, if she had revealed it to everybody and made an issue out of it, the author thinks that it would have transformed her life itself, because she would have come out into the open and she would have learned to be free from that particular guilt that she's been going through. So what is happening in this particular book is that the way the author has been revealing things from the past to make the present look more coherent, and to make it to give us a better understanding of the present, she has to unravel the past, and that is what she does it. And she does not do it just alone. In fact, her parents never come to know about the kind of trauma she has gone through as a child, but she tells everything to her lover in the first place, but later to some of her therapists. And there are a few therapists that have come into her life. And then again, as one moves into the youth, again you confront a different set of issues. There she's not just battling the problems that she has gone through as a child, but then there are new problems that come in. The obesity could be a problem. The way that it sort of destroys your mental, your confidence. The fact that you want to always be at home, you are not very active, you don't want to get involved with several things that normally people like to do. You don't want to go outside, you are fine with the comforts of your home. So there are various aspects of a depressive state of mind that comes through in this particular book. And luckily for the author, she says that she has found certain therapists who have really changed the way things have been for her. When she finds that a particular therapist is not able to communicate well enough to her, she moves on to another person. And it is those therapists who have really made her discover the real problem that she has been going through. And that gave her the power to write this particular book, because by writing this particular book and putting all the kind of issues that she has gone through as far as she can remember, she has come out into the open and laid bare the things that she has gone through as a child. And that by unraveling that past, she probably feels more comfortable in the present. And also that is probably transforming her life itself, because later you find the way she is able to take up new assignments. She goes to Finland, she lives there, she finds it some of the most productive days in her life, and she takes up new assignments. She becomes more fit, she loses a lot of weight, she gathers a lot of more confidence, and primarily she also gathers a lot of confidence to get over her failed love, because Avi, as we find later in the book, is unfaithful to her, and she decides to leave him. And that sort of decision she is able to make, because she is a newborn person. She's sort of come out of this. And it is not only that, she also has this extremely tormenting disease, where she feels that she needs to pluck out facial hair every time. So it becomes an obsession, and she's unable to get over it. And it's only later that probably the therapist or maybe others would talk her out of this. But otherwise, that is another kind of problem that she has to face and live with. So Manjiri has been able to successfully bring all these into this particular book. It's a small book. It's a good read. It's an easy read. It's a very engaging book. You can call it an unputdownable book if you have the time. A few days you can quickly read through it, and the language is quite interesting. It is very very frank. It's very candid kind of a language that she's used, and sometimes it becomes very powerful and personal. I mean, especially when she talks about her Maharashtrian background, the people, the kind of interaction between her close relatives, her Ai, her Aji, then Azoba, the grandfather. So it becomes an extremely, it's expressed very 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 well. Another aspect of this book is that she intersperses the whole book with poetry, various small poems of hers, and that is put in a particular context. So whenever she is talking about I, she brings in some poems that she has written about her mother, or when she talks about her Aji, she brings in poems about her grandmother, and so on and so forth. So rather than read these poems standalone, when we read them in this book, she provides a kind of context to that poem itself, and I think we tend to enjoy both the narration that led up to that poem as well as the poem itself. So I think that's been a very interesting style that she has adopted in writing this particular book. So before I end this episode, I would love to read a little bit from this book. I will read a particular passage where she's talking about photographs that she discovers and she tries to go through. And remember, when she talks about photographs in her of her childhood, she's actually trying to relive some of those memories, and probably she's able to do this only because she's getting help from the therapist and others. Otherwise, childhood is not something that she would want to open up and examine, again and again. But here she does it. I am younger than 7 in this picture, maybe 6. I have short boy-cut hair. I am wearing a hairband and I am looking cute. I was a cute child, did I mention? Now that I am not cute anymore, the loss of my childhood cuteness is often lamented. I was beautiful and fair with pink cheeks. I was popular. Everyone said I could be a Cerelac baby. I am also wearing a big bindi that belongs to my eye in the picture. I look like a miniature eye in this picture. I have always looked exactly like her. She is quite proud of the fact. Quite honestly, looking like I is only a privilege. There is no one prettier. In the photo, I am eating. My mouth looks swollen because of the big bite of yet to be chewed roti in my mouth and another bite ready to go in my hand. There is no reason why this photograph even exists, but it does. As the firstborn child of doting parents, my life has been well documented, and in every single photograph, I look happy. For the most part, I was happy. But photographs don't capture the whole picture, do they? They are deceptive. As Susan Sontag wrote in her essay collection on photography, life is not about significant details illuminated in a flash, fixed forever. Photographs are. I am glad these photographs exist and in such large numbers. Every small moment, that time I stood underneath the hand pump, soaking in the cold water pouring out of it, looking as happy as a 1-year-old can. That time when I stood underneath a tree blooming with wildflowers, my lips red after chewing too much sweetened pan, with a few of those flowers neatly clipped onto my hair, all the holidays that I can remember and the ones I can't. They all exist in these photographs. I hope you all find this book a very interesting read. and more so because it highlights a very, very important theme that a lot of youngsters as well as older people face in these days, and that is of mental illness and the ways that you would want to come out of it. Thank you all for watching. Have a good day.